This video is sponsored by Squarespace, but I'll tell you more about them later. My name is John O'Dry, and if you're new here, I do pencil drawings. I do drawings kind of like this one behind me. Actually, exactly, I did the one behind me, and these are some of the other ones that I've done. Recently, I found some old drawings from when I was in high school in my garage. It's been really cool to look back on how I started out and the kinds of things that were really important to me back then. It's been really cool to see how things have changed and how things have grown. And it's made me want to compile a list of everything that I've done over the last 20 years and look at it and critique it. So I want to drag you guys along for that journey. I started playing Warcraft when I was really young and loved the art in the game. And this was one of the first drawings I was super proud of, where I was drawing all the gunk in the teeth and stuff. And I feel like this is where I peaked. It's all gone downhill from here. Going through all the drawings yesterday, I realized that it's gonna take forever. And I think I will go through all of them and speak about the things that I was learning through each drawing and what was happening, and I'll put that onto my Patreon. But I think for a faster overview of how my practice has developed over the years, I'm going to just go through the series and the stages, starting off with the high school drawings. So these are the high school drawings that I was doing. This idea of the dark background and the chiaroscuro began to emerge. I was still stuck with using my graphite to grind into the paper and create these streaks. It was a nightmare. It was really, really difficult, and it created this halo around the artwork. You can see it over here a bit. And so I was starting to touch on the style that I now have really developed and love, but I think there were hints of it coming through. I was also in my first serious relationship, and I was just drawing my partner at the time. That was also something I felt really strong about, was to create my own reference photos. So I was learning how to use a camera and learning about lighting. After the first exhibition, there was a lot of learning, and that put me into a stage of experimentation. And so I started trying to figure out what I wanted to do and just feeling really unsure of which direction I wanted to go. And through that came this moment of wanting to just really push the barriers and create an artwork that was just insanely detailed, to try and push my technical ability. And that was this very big landmark for me, which was Fibonacci. And this was one of the most challenging drawings ever. It absolutely tested my discipline. And then there was quite a bit of turmoil that happened for quite a long time. And that was the end of my relationship. And I really struggled to process that. And what made it even worse was I had just taken on a project where I'd agreed to do 25 new drawings for a wine label, and she was really willing to model for me, and we were trying to stay on good terms, and I really loved drawing her. So essentially locked myself in my room for 6 months drawing her, and just absolutely ruining myself emotionally. And there was a lot of learning there, and I only have 3 of those images from that time. But there were a lot of lessons learned, more psychologically and emotionally than technically. But I think it also really helped me with drawing the human form and figuring things out there. There was still a lot of falling around in the beginning of my career, and I was really struggling with trying to figure out what I wanted to be doing. I loved MC Escher, so just did a tribute to his work there, playing around with some trompe l'oeil, and it really shows that I was kind of all over the place with my style and my subject matter. But then came the first proper series of drawings, which I felt really proud of, and that was the Rational Animals series. So these works here. I felt really proud of these artworks. I was having a lot of fun taking really old family photographs and putting animal heads on them and playing around with the compositions and the choice of different animals based on who the people were. So for example, this piece here was my grandmother in the center and my great-grandparents on either side. I loved this series. It was a lot of fun to do, but there was also a lot of pushback. So this artwork got published by a local magazine in my town, and then a lot of people started saying that I was a Satanist and that the works that I was doing were evil in some way, which I don't really take seriously because these works aren't religiously motivated in any way whatsoever. So it was kind of fun for me to see that people were getting really worked up about it, and it also created a lot of interest in the work, and that felt really exciting as well. So that felt like the first big breakthrough of having like a series of artworks exploring a subject matter and creating multiple works within the same series. And then I started to lose momentum with that, and I fell into an experimental space again. So Q, another eye drawing. This one I felt really excited about. I put a little Fibonacci spiral in the corner there, but I was still struggling with my technique. I was still pressing really hard with pencils, creating these scratchy marks and things on the side, and there was still a lot of learning for me to do. Then I just really needed to explore a bit with different styles and different subject matter. It got really strange. I felt so lost at this stage, and I mean, still, this is so scratchy as well. I really wish that I could redo it with what I know today, but I think it adds to the story. It's part of the development of the work. These are all just me searching for something. I really loved some of these, just continuously searching for something that resonated. And Q, another eye drawing. I think a year had passed, another Fibonacci spiral in that. That was just a ton of experimentation from the end of the Rational Animals series, really struggling with direction. And then I found this, which was the largest drawing that I had ever done. It was like 4 times the size of the largest drawing that I'd done before it. I was just drawing into the nights. It was so incredibly exciting for me, and it started becoming a series, and I created all of these works in the same Pan series. And what was really exciting about this was I was with a gallery in my hometown, and I would finish the work on a Monday before the end of the month, and then it would get framed and go on display for a monthly event called First Friday. And people were excited to see the drawings, and I was excited for the openings, and they were selling really quickly as well. So most of the time they were actually sold before they went onto the walls of the gallery, which was so validating for me. It was a really incredible time. That was definitely one of these big moments of like, this is really going to be something that I can turn into a career. But then the gallery asked me to change things. They asked me to start working a bit smaller. And I felt like I'd hit a stride with the work that I was doing. I was really figuring something out and changing direction, especially with the size. There was something really important to me about the size that I was working. Felt like it just put the brakes on things. I felt really disconnected, and I started to fumble. The gallery kind of had me in a power hold, and eventually I created this artwork here, called In Its Grip. And this piece was a massive piece again, so there was a sense of rebellion in it and taking power back, and also representing how I felt at the time. I didn't consciously do it. It was very much intuitive piece, but this artwork essentially saved me. I put it into the gallery and it sold after a few weeks, and that just really helped me break out of that financial rut that I was in, and eventually also gave me the courage to leave the gallery. And then as soon as I left and I felt free, it birthed this artwork here, Handle, and this work was just an absolute joy to do. It sold immediately and was the beginning of a new chapter for me. I also started recording the process with this artwork and started to publish things on YouTube and started making prints of my work as well. And there was just this momentum that started to build. Following that work, I also did this one, which is still to this day one of the most challenging works that I've ever done. This is Pupil. And the story behind it is it took me roughly a year to finish, on and off, working for 2 months at a time, and then I would lose complete motivation and it would beat me up, and I would work on something else, and then I'd come back to it and eventually finished it. But during that time, I felt like things had really started to gain momentum, and I felt very refined in what I was doing, and I proceeded to do another piece that meant a lot to me, Mask, as well. And this entire series of works, the detail that I was achieving and the reference photos that I was using, everything felt so aligned. And I hit this stride that I was so happy with. All of these works I'm so incredibly proud of. Yeah, and that series of works just really felt like I had broken through to a space, and I felt really confident about it. With each breakthrough comes this sense of, where do I go from here? And I fell into this experimentation space again and was really struggling. I really didn't feel like my heart was fully in some of these works that I produced afterwards. This one I really did love though. It was quite a special piece. But there was this staggering, like I had hit my stride and now I was fumbling a bit. And then I created Iris, which again felt like another breakthrough and something that I could sink my teeth into. I think I started to really respect the process and understand the process, and proceeded to create quite a few works along these lines. And I felt really in line with all of them. And I felt like these were all really good representations of where I was creatively and emotionally in that time. And then did another eye drawing and kind of hit a little bit of a roadblock again and needed to do some experimentation. So things started to get a little bit weird. I think I still really loved these experimentation phases, but it definitely started to shift gear until I found this juxtaposition with tearing fruit apart and the human body, and it's something that I'm still very excited about exploring. Yeah, this was something I started to sink my teeth into, but it was a little bit more graphic and difficult for people to see. I think I felt just a little bit scared of upsetting people. During this time, I also drew Bacana, which was a bit of a hark back to some of the previous works that I'd been doing. It's almost like I keep jumping a little bit forwards, pushing the boundary, and then coming back a little bit to something that I know, and the eyes represent that. But when I come back, I don't come back in the same way. It is something slightly different. So with Bacana, there was this changing of the horns quite a bit, adding a lot of flowers and a different kind of beauty to it. And the hummingbird starting to make a more regular appearance in the works as well. And then came another eye drawing, and this one was a really big one for me. This was Gummy Bear and I, and I absolutely loved this piece. There was a playfulness to it and a reverence to it that was really important to me, and it's something that I don't always share with my work. The video of this drawing ended up being the most successful video that I've made on YouTube, and that was incredibly special. And yeah, I'm actually still sad that I sold this piece. I kind of wish that I kept it for myself. And then I needed to search again, and I decided to go back to my love of animals, which was something from right in the very beginning, particularly my love for elephants and this sense of preciousness and responsibility that I feel around taking care of animals. So these pieces were really special for me. Also a difference in the backgrounds. I think since then I've kind of fallen into a more experimental space again. There's a lot of pressure on me to kind of recreate what had happened with Gummy Bear and I. So this piece was a drawing where I just filled the iris with little gummy bears, which was a lot of fun. The planning for it was super fun as well. And then just started getting more experimental with my works, and I feel like there was another breakthrough around this period as well, with these works starting to really push boundaries with composition and what I could do with juxtaposing things, and also the techniques that I was using had started to develop massively. So there was this confidence that I was really starting to enjoy with my medium. By this stage, I was extremely happy with technically how I was working, and this piece definitely summed up the sense of weight and pressure that I was feeling at the time. There was a lot going on in my life outside of my work, and I was really struggling to find balance and to juggle it. That kind of brings me to where I'm at the moment with my work, and I feel like I'm experimenting at the moment, trying to figure out where I'm going next. I've been experimenting with a lot of different mediums and playing around with sculpture and installation and stuff like that. So there's definitely this like pushing outwards and trying to find out where things are going. But at the same time, there's these really powerful ideas that want to come out, and I'm not really sure how to give them space. I really love this series of charcoal drawings called Beneath the Sheets. This is also something I'd love to spend time exploring further. I'm also just struggling to balance survival and absolute play and experimentation, and I think that that's a continuous challenge for a lot of artists, where we also have to make a living and figure out how far do we compromise in pushing the boundaries and creating work that's unsafe for us, because we don't really know whether there'll be a market for it, or do the things that people know us for. Yeah, I am trying to figure that out at the moment, and I think the work speaks to that a bit as well. So before I end this video, I'd just like to give a huge thank you to this video sponsor, Squarespace. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, and they've played a huge role in my career, not only in sponsoring these videos and helping me maintain this channel and my practice actually, but early on in my career, I was looking for a way to showcase my work and make it easy for collectors to find me and get in touch with me. And I didn't have time to learn HTML and try and build a beautiful, reliable website. And I felt that Squarespace did all of that effortlessly. I never had to patch or upgrade anything. I could register a domain with them and set up an online store. And most importantly, I could design a portfolio and show my work the way that I wanted to. Also, every time I got stuck, their amazing support team helped me out instantly. So if you're looking at building a website, give Squarespace a try. And if you decide that you love them, use this offer code and get 10% off your first purchase. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed this dive through all of the work that I've done. It's kind of crazy to look at all these drawings. It's a lot of graphite and a lot of paper. I'm feeling really proud to be able to scroll through all of this and to see how far I've come. And it's really nice to be able to share that with you guys. And a lot of you have been on this journey with me for quite a couple years, and it's incredibly special. So a huge thank you to you guys for that support. For those of you that have been sending just continuous comments and messages, which I really appreciate, to even some of you who have been buying my originals and prints, and that's just really been incredible to be able to do this. So yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.